So the second team that hired their head coach were the New York Jets. They hired Robert Saleh. And do you think that this was a home run hire for the Jets? I'll start with you, Jack.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm being a homer, but I think this is the best hire of the entire offseason. And a lot of people agree. Robert Saleh is an incredibly well-respected guy by players, former players of his, and just guys around the league, executives around the league, other coaches. I know 49ers fans were very upset to see him go. And the one thing I really loved about it was he was a big fish in this coaching carousel this offseason. The Jets didn't wait to see what other teams were going to do. They didn't wait to see who falls off the board. They went out, they got their guy. The only team that hired before them was the Jaguars with Urban Meyer. But then after that, they went out, they got their guy in Robert Saleh. They didn't leave anything up to chance. You know, they thought they had their guy, and they went out and they made sure that he was a Jet for the next 5 years. I thought that was huge. And when you look at what they were hoping to accomplish this offseason, they said they wanted a CEO type, a leader of men, somebody who can build something in New York. And I think Robert Saleh is the perfect guy. His intensity, his emotion, his passion is something that's infectious. I think players want to play for him. I know Quinn Williams has been talking about how excited he was about the hire. And I just think from a personnel standpoint, like, one, I think he's going to optimize our defense and put us in a better position to succeed. I think there's a lot of talent already on that defensive side of the ball that he's going to optimize. And then two, the staff that he's bringing in. Mike LaFleur coming in as the offensive coordinator is a huge get. I like the staff that they're filling out. And you look at LaFleur, and that 49ers offensive system that they ran does not depend on a superstar quarterback. You know, they rely more on the run game than anything. And you saw that they went to the Super Bowl with Jimmy G, who didn't have the best year. He didn't have a superstar year, I would say. So now it gives you a little bit more flexibility at that quarterback position where there's been some question marks. So I think it's positive in any way you look at it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Jets fan. You want to
go? I like the Robert Saleh hire, but I'm just gonna tell everybody this.
Oh boy.
Unless we get Deshaun Watson. He's the guy that obviously, if we get him, this does not matter what I'm about to say. Don't expect to hit the ground running. When he started with the San Francisco 49ers, the year before in 2016, before he got there, they were the 32nd ranked defense. He goes to San Francisco in 2017, they were the 25th, 2018 the 28th, 2019 the 8th ranked defense. Then this past year, the 17th ranked defense. So before the defense got good, it was pretty bad. 49ers fans actually were calling for him to get fired. So don't expect our defense to make this huge leap and be like a top 10 ranked defense. Don't expect to hit the ground running. And everybody's raving about the coaching staff and stuff. And look, I get it. They're 49ers guys. Some of them are coming from Atlanta, like QB coach Greg Knapp. But this is what I'm going to say. Mike LaFleur, we have to see what he's going to be. He was the passing game coordinator with the San Francisco 49ers. The best part of the 49ers offense is the running game. It's not the passing game. In fact, the passing game was pretty mediocre. Right? So we can say that. Passing game was pretty mediocre. This is a guy this is the first time he's calling offensive plays. And he's not bringing that run. Like, if it was Mike McDaniels, I would have been like, oh, wow, our offense is going to be crazy. But it's Mike LaFleur. For me, it's a wait and see. Like, their passing game wasn't that great.
Well, I also think that had to do with Jimmy Garoppolo. I think you're higher on Jimmy Garoppolo than I am, though. So we might have a difference.
And their receivers wasn't all that great aside from
their receivers wasn't all that great, but I'm just saying, when they got Emmanuel Sanders, it changed.
That is true.
But if anything, the passing game was
average.
It benefited from the running game. If it wasn't for the running game setting everything up, that passing game was really bad. And I'm not blaming everything on Jimmy G, because I think, especially when they didn't have Emmanuel Sanders, there was no separation at all. So I'm not going to blame him for that. So Mike LaFleur, he was the passing game coordinator, so I don't know how he's going to be. We also hired John Benton, the offensive line and run game coordinator. Like he was the offensive line coach with 49ers. I think he was a home run hire. I think he's going to be great. I don't have to go too much in depth into that. But Greg Knapp, our quarterback coach, he's worked with the Falcons before. No track record of developing a young quarterback. They had Matt Ryan. Like, if you go through Greg Knapp's history, he has no track record of developing a young quarterback. In 2010 to 2011, I believe he was with the Houston Texans. That was when they had Matt Schaub, right? He's coming from Atlanta. So there's no track record of him developing a young quarterback. And what are the Jets going to have if we don't get Deshaun Watson? A young quarterback. So those are the things I worry about. But if you want to be optimistic, then our last 2 defensive head coaches, Rex Ryan, those were our best times. Todd Bowles, we started out great until our roster, because we spent
been a playoff team.
Yes, we went 10-6 our first year with Todd Bowles, and after that
was with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, then after that, our roster crumbled because Mike McCagnon couldn't draft, and our free agent signings were horrible, and people got injured. Todd Bowles wasn't put in a position to succeed. I'll say that. If he was, we probably would have still been with him, but he wasn't put in a position to succeed. The good thing about this is that our last 2 defensive head coaches have started out good. So maybe Saleh starts out the same, but I'm just saying everybody's talking about this offensive staff being like a all-pro, Pro Bowl offensive staff or whatever, this like an all-star team staff. Hold your horses. It's not yet. These are a lot of guys that are unproven.
So wait, can I ask you, Jets fans, can I ask a quick question? Say, for example, you do get Deshaun before the draft. Who would you take then with the number 2 pick?
It would be the Texans.
Why would we?
That would be in the deal.
It would be in the deal. Okay, so say, for example, all right, so let me give a different hypothetical. Say, for example, you don't get him, right? Are you still in the position to where you're picking a quarterback?
We should.
I'm going to
have him compete with Darnold?
Personally, I think that
Trey Darnold.
I think that this hire gave Sam Darnold a better chance of being the next quarterback than, say, if Brian Daboll had been hired as the head coach. Just because I think that 49ers system relied more on the run game. And although LaFleur was the passing game coordinator, I think he's going to take cues from that offense and how they leaned on the run game.
So you feel as if in this position, he's going to lean more towards the run game for the Jets going forward?
I don't know for sure which direction they're going to go in. Maybe they agree that they should take a quarterback while they have the option available rather than, say, stick with Sam Darnold this year. He doesn't pan out, and then you have to hope next year you get a candidate as good as Zach Wilson or Justin Fields. Maybe they'll think that, but I think that if it was Brian Daboll who had gotten hired or somebody like that, I would have felt confident that we were picking a quarterback at 2.
This is the thing. With Mike LaFleur, we're mostly Jets fans. We're mostly sold on him because of his last name. Let's be honest. That's why. Matt LaFleur, as an offensive coordinator, he had the 27th ranked offense in Tennessee. The next year, Arthur Smith takes over. They have the 10th ranked offense. So, of course, Matt LaFleur proved himself as a head coach with Green Bay. But we have to remember that when he got the job, everybody was cautious about it because in his first stint as an OC, he didn't do good with Tennessee.
The weapons also got a lot better in Tennessee under Arthur Smith, though.
Who?
Well, I mean, bringing in A.J. Brown and Corey Davis's breakout, you could attribute that
Corey
to
Davis
Arthur
didn't break
Smith.
out until this past year. 2019.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but 2019 there was a 10th ranked offense. That's not. They had Delaney Walker too in 2018. Delaney Walker is a Pro Bowl caliber tight end.
He was hurt for a lot of the season.
In 2018,
he was dealing with injuries for a lot.
In 2019,
yeah.
in 2019, not in 2018. I don't
know.
so.
I just think as much as I give Arthur Smith credit, and we'll talk about Arthur Smith, I think the talent there got a lot better and developed a lot more. So
I don't really think so.
Derrick Henry turned to a beast, man.
Because I don't really think so. I think it's the offense that they ran. Because if you watch Tennessee Titans offense, it was very smash mouth. There was no creativity. And right now, let me just check because I'm looking.
Hey,
Marcus Mariota was a quarterback that year, right? He threw 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Can we honestly say that Can we honestly say that Sam Darnold is better than Marcus Mariota?
I don't think it's a full-blown conclusion that we can say that.
Well, like to this point, like based on what Mariota did in Tennessee and Sam Darnold, I think it's safe to say Mariota is a better quarterback.
I agree.
I would disagree personally.
Ooh.
Yeah, you're crazy. They had Derrick Henry and Deion Lewis. Deion Lewis was good that year. I'm just going through their weapons. Corey Davis was there.
What year are you talking about?
2018.
Okay.
Jonnu Smith, and yeah, their receivers weren't that good. Taywan Taylor and stuff. Tajay Sharp. But in 2019, all they added was
A.J. Brown.
And A.J. Brown was a huge
Corey
part
Davis
of that
had his
offense
breakout year
getting
that
as
year,
good
too,
as
yeah,
it
but
was,
we
though.
also got to understand
That's
that.
a 1,000-yard receiver.
Yeah, but we also have to understand that. The running game made that team.
I'm not saying it was solely the fact that they didn't have the weapons. But
breakout year too?
No, yeah, it was.
I'm not saying it's solely the fact that they didn't have the weapons, but I do think that played a part in the fact that the offense got a lot better.
No, yeah, I think so too. But I'm just saying, everybody's sold on Mike LaFleur because he has a LaFleur last name. He has not proven nothing yet. We have to see what happens. And he was the passing game coordinator for the 49ers. A group that wasn't very good. Like, if he was a run game coordinator, I would be more sold on this move. But this is his first experience. And we saw Matt LaFleur's first experience. He was one of the worst ranked offenses in the league. So let's see what let's see what Mike LaFleur does before we give him the reins for being this next genius. Especially when we've seen in the past that guys that come from these systems like Shanahan and Sean McVay, they don't tend to succeed right off the bat. Look at Zach Taylor in Cincinnati, especially as a play caller. Just because you're around a genius doesn't make you a genius.
I think Zach Taylor is going to be all right personally.
Quote you just said. I like that quote.
That's what I think, though. You know, I like the hire, the Robert Saleh hire, but I don't want to be too quick to jump the gun on how great the coaching staff is going to be. I want to see how it's going to be, and especially if we stick with Darnold, I think that's going to be a huge mistake.
I think right now you can look at it as a good hire because Joe Douglas wasn't a guy of the people. He wasn't a leader. He didn't really connect with the guys with Robert Saleh, whatever his last name is. You get a guy who, he's a leader, guy who's going to connect more with your players.
That's what I like about it.
I think that's what you needed in the Jets organization first, and I think that's, you know, killing one bad thing right now and then moving on and looking at the next bad things with the Jets. But I think getting that first was the first step, and where you could look at it and be like, all right, yeah, okay, this is cool. Now let's see what we can do now.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, I'm not sold. We'll see what happens next season. Like I said, I said this in the live stream. It all depends. Joe Douglas's GM career is going to depend on what he does with this second overall pick.
He's going to trade it for Deshaun Watson.
He should. Because that's the safest bet.
That's Deshaun Watson.
Because if he drafts a QB at 2 and he's a bust, that's on him.
I 100%
If he sticks with
Darnold
and Darnold's not good, that's on him. But you know what Deshaun Watson is. So that's the safest bet. If I was Joe Douglas, I would do it too.
I said it last night. If you are Joe Douglas, you should be on the phone with the Texans 100%. Telling them whatever anybody offers you, especially the Dolphins, no matter what they offer you, you call me back and I will guarantee you a better offer. I don't care what it takes. Yeah. There is no cost I would not pay for him to be on my team. If you were redrafting the NFL today, he is probably the second pick behind Patrick Mahomes.
I don't know.
He's definitely top 5. Easily top 5. Probably top 4.
Easily top 5. Who else are you taking above him?
Are we like adding age too?
Yeah, I mean you're drafting for the future.
Who else are you taking? If you talk about age,
you're not taking Rodgers. You're not taking Wilson.
Yeah, probably taking Sean too, but still.
Wait. Josh Allen, you might be able to take him before him.
I'll take Deshaun.
I would take Deshaun. And I'll say this: no matter where Deshaun goes, I think they're at least a playoff contender next year. No matter what team he goes to.
Yeah.
Because he has a no-trade clause, too. So remember, he can decline any offer that he doesn't think is a good situation for him. So he's not going anywhere. He doesn't think he can turn it around.
So final thoughts on Robert Saleh getting hired by the Jets. Jack, you're fully on board with it.
I think it's a great hire.
Okay, what about you?
I'm kind of with you. I'm optimistic about it, but I'm not going to jump the gun.
Yep, and what he said, that same way. Let's see what happens.
Yeah,
what do I always say with the Jets?
Oh, you're a doomsday prepper.
What can I say? Yeah. They always find a way to jet it up. So let's see what happens. You know, I hope my team does good and they prove me wrong, but let's see. I'm not sold on it.
So far, so good. That's what I'll say. So far, so good.
This isn't a James Harden to the Nets move right here.
They could sign Patrick Mahomes, and you say, well, you don't know. You haven't seen him without Tyreek Hill.
That's not true. Because if Deshaun Watson's a Jet, I will be fanboying the same way I'm doing for James Harden right now on the Nets.
Oh, God.
Really?
Now I hope they don't trade for Deshaun Watson because I don't feel like hearing about that for another one of my teams.